Hey, let's talk about water softeners and water filtration. Whether you have municipal water, private water, a water well, we're going to tell you why it's probably best you own a water softener and a water filtration system. Let's dig into it. Let's break down the water softener system and water filter system and exactly what it does. So let's start with your water supply. On this house, this line right here is your water supply in. A lot of times it's on the left side. In this case, it's on the right side. So here we have a water line coming in, going up, going into a water filter, which is not the same as a softener, coming out, looping back around, coming back down, and then going into the water softener. Goes through the water softener, comes back out this outlet right here, comes back up, goes to a hose bib. This is optional, of course. You can connect the hose to this and have softened water, spot-free water to wash your car. Comes back down and goes into the house. Now you're probably wondering what this guy is. This is a bypass valve. So if you want to turn the water off, it's not going to go through the water filter or the water softener. You turn this valve off, turn that valve off, turn that valve on. The water comes out of the house, out of the water meter, into the house directly. Okay, so let's talk about the different pieces here. This is the actual water softener. Inside that tank is material that actually softens the water. But that material, as it collects hard water, will get contaminated. And how it cleans it is it takes salt from inside this reservoir, pulls it up through that brine tube and into the water softener and cleans it. It regenerates. The salt water goes into the water softener tank and cleans the elements that are inside the tank that soften the water. It cleans, the salt cleans those elements so that it continually has the ability to soften the water. So these generally hold anywhere from 80 to 120 pounds of salt, depending on how often your water softener regenerates. So this is a 32,000 grain tank. You can get a 48, you can get a 60, you can get a 72, you can get a 96,000 grain. And how do you know which size grain tank to get? Depends on how many bathrooms and how many people are going to be using the system. This is a 32,000 because this is a 2-bathroom and there's only 2 people living here. Okay, so you don't want to oversize your water softener. That can create problems, but you also don't want to undersize it. So you need to do a little math to figure out what size tank you need. So to go from a 32 to a 48,000 grain is only like $75. It's not a huge amount of money, but you want to have it at the right size. So let's talk about this filter. This is called a Big Blue. This is a filter housing, right? It's 20 inches long by 4.5 inches diameter filter inside. This is good for a year to a year and a half. This particular filter has a carbon filter. You can get ones for sediment. You can get ones if you have a high iron or pH, just depending on how your water tests, which brings me to this. Always test your water because you're going to have to calibrate the water softener depending on the hardness of your water and what's in your water. So this is changed out every year and a half. Turn these 2 valves off, relieve the pressure right here with this air relief valve, spin that off. This right here is to lock and unlock it, or tighten and untighten. Just remember, softening water is not the same as filtering water. This is a water filter, this is a water softener. And really, that's kind of it. You're going to, based on the hardness of your water, this water was 356 parts per million. So this one is set up for about a 1,450 grain water softening. If your water is 150 grains of hardness, that's going to be like 800 or 900. So, and you calibrate this. There's your owner's manual will tell you how to do that. Like, here's an owner's manual for this system. It tells you everything you need to know about programming it and getting it all ready. I installed this one for my mother and father-in-law, and I'm not a professional plumber, so I used PEX. This is not the snap-on, snap-off PEX. This is actually crimped. No water leaks. These fittings are like $4. If you get the ones that slide on and off, like say, what was on here before? This was on here before. These are like $15 each or $16 each. They're removable. These aren't. These you have to pry apart to replace them. But you know, how often are you going to take this apart? Not very often. So that's the idea with this. I hope this answers your questions. And that soft water you will use less shampoo, less soap in your dishwasher, less soap in your washing machine. Your water heater will last longer. All your faucets, water faucet fixtures and stuff, the seals and seats will last a lot longer. Your glass won't get all corroded with hard water stains. It's just, you won't get as many kidney stones, hopefully none. And then if you put the little garden hose outlet on it, you can wash your car and have spot-free water.